Boom, shaka, laka, boom. You're tuned in to the free-range human show of choice, your daily dose of reality radio. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I'm, of course, Clay Edwards. I am live on 103.9 FM, WYAB, streaming worldwide at WYAB.com, as well as the TuneIn app. Just search Alexa. Blah, blah, blah. Let me get that right. I butchered that, didn't I? Streaming worldwide on WYAB.com, as well as the TuneIn app and Alexa. Just search WYAB. I ain't said that one in a while. I've been pushing the other stuff so much, as well as the other stuff. We are on the video formats, YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, and X. Just search Clay Edwards Show on Rumble and search Save JXN on all the rest. You can sign up, and on YouTube you can subscribe, and you can hit the little bell for notifications, and you'll get a notification every time we go live. It'll also give you a reminder, I think 30 minutes before, 20 minutes before, something like that. Pretty cool deal. But we are live if you want to watch the video format. It's just me in here today. At the top of the hour, 8 o'clock, I'm going to have Miss Heather Smith from Naked and Afraid. She's not going to be in the studio, but she will be online and on the phone with me. She's going to be talking about her brand new book, The Survival Guide to Being a Single Parent. So apparently it's already a bestseller over on Amazon, so that'll be a fun conversation. I'm getting everything pulled up here. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about this morning. Y'all bear with me as I get logged into my notes. Hope everybody's doing good out there. Traffic was moving brisk this morning. I made it from Brandon to Flora in pretty short order. So no complaints there. Didn't almost die multiple times this morning, but it is amazing to me, like what an obstacle course it is to get from just driving around Jackson, period, Brandon, wherever, just the interstates in central Mississippi. I mean, it's just organized chaos, and it's really not organized, but feels like it. I was listening to an older Joe Rogan episode coming in, and they were talking about vaccines and all that. Man, I tell you what, I'm just going to say this. Still no regrets. Still not a single regret not getting that. Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. I guess that episode was recorded the day or 2 days after Damar Hamlin had passed out on the field. And then Damar Hamlin caught an interception last night. So tells you how bad Trevor Lawrence is. But anyway, let's see here. Get my notes pulled up. Where do I want to start? Where do we want to start this morning? The Mazda of Jackson phone line, if you guys want to chime in on anything, is 601-879-0002. The Guns and Gear text line is 769-241-1944. I think I know where I want to start. School safety. There have been a lot of threats on our public schools lately. Kind of odd that it hasn't been our private schools. I mean, not complaining, but it seems to be the public schools where they're doing this at. Makes you wonder. So let's go to WLBT here, and we're going to play a clip. I made a video about this last night, threw it up on my YouTube channel, but I wanted to do this again because I want you guys' opinions on this stuff. As you know, kind of our question of the day, like, what would you do if you were in charge? Got to let WLBT run through the motions here on their little few second ad before we can play. All right, here we go. Let me turn the volume up real quick. And this is over on WLBT this morning.
Alone, there's been a string of possible school threats here in the metro and surrounding areas. This comes after a school shooting in Georgia earlier this month. 3 on Your Side's Valencia Gavin speaks with school districts and law enforcement about how these threats are handled in your child's school.
So, Courtney, at least 6 possible threats were made across central Mississippi this month. School districts here in the metro say they are doing their part to keep their campuses safe after multiple schools investigated possible threats. One way to not report a threat is by reposting it on social media.
This month, Northwest Rankin Middle School, Richland High School, Warren Central Junior High School, Mendenhall High School, Betty May Jack Middle School, and Terry High School all heard of possible threats. After investigations, no credible threat was identified at any school except Northwest Rankin Middle School. A suspect was arrested and taken to Rankin County Juvenile Detention Facility. Here in the Metro, school districts say most of these threats come from social media. Tony Chrysler with the Hinds County School District says making reposts is how things can get carried away.
Social media blows everything up, and you have to be very careful with that. But you also have to take it very serious because you never know when it's for real and when it's not.
Many times students see potential threats before their school does. Rankin County Schools Safety and Security Administrator Jesse Paggard says it's important for students to report them properly.
Instead of sharing things on social media that may be a rumor, go through our tip line. They can go to their administrator.
Safety is a top concern across the board with resource officers on campuses every day, and they increase security as needed during threat investigations, including metal detectors.
If you go to any campus in Rankin County School District and you ask the principal their number one priority as administrator, they're going to tell you the safety of our children.
If we feel that the school is unsafe, we will be the first person to say, stay away. The school is at a lockdown. We don't want you here. Please stay at home.
While districts are doing their part to keep students safe, law enforcement is working to punish the people making these threats. This could even mean felony charges.
We take all threats and all matters regarding our schools, our staff, students, administrators, and the school property itself seriously. Once we're able to identify them, then at that particular time, if we deem it necessary, they can and they will be charged with a crime.
Law enforcement is not responsible for how schools discipline students involved in threats.
We do not direct the school to do anything. The school can suspend, expel, send to the Learning Center, however it chooses to handle that matter according to its policies.
Not only are school threats here in Mississippi investigated by school districts and local authorities, the Federal Bureau of Investigations can also be called. Anyone making a threat against a school could be treated as a terrorist.
All right, so let me minimize that. Hit the stop sharing button. All right. I want to say something. I think our schools around here are extremely safe. I think you can look at the track record going back to the tragedy in Pearl back in the 90s. And since then, school safety has been something that has been top of mind for, I think, all the districts around here. And as much hell as I give Jackson, I think one thing they do very well is keep their schools safe, or at least keep the gun violence out of their schools. I think they probably know they have a problem there. I mean, I don't think you're breaking any news here when you say that based on the demographic and the age group of people that are doing most of the violent crime in Jackson, it's young black kids, 14 to 17, 14 to 18-year-olds, which is right there in the wheelhouse of being a high school age. And you don't hear about shootings or whatnot in Jackson schools. So I think a lot of credit goes to the school resource officers or whomever is in charge of security at these schools in Jackson, because I don't think that's an easy job, to say the least. As far as out in the counties, I'm not too familiar with Madison County's guys that are out there doing it. I mean, maybe I know them and I just don't realize it. But I know some of the cats over in Rankin County, in the Northwest, with Northwest Rankin in particular, and I know they do an amazing job, and they do not play games. They had a threat there last week. The schools were all locked down, some version of a lockdown. Anyway, I don't know if it was like level 5, DEFCON 4 type lockdown, but there was a lockdown of some sort, and they got the guy that did it, the kid that did it, and got him arrested. But there were, I think, what did it say, 6 schools here in the area that had threats of some sort. So it's kind of this monkey see, monkey do mentality with these things. And Jesse Paggard there was saying that sharing it on social media probably ain't the way to go. I don't know. I mean, it creates fear and it creates chaos because, all the parents are freaking out. But I don't know. As a parent, I want to know any way I can. But these schools do seem to have great notification systems now, too. People send me screenshots and stuff when they get an email notification about any kind of threat level or anything like that. Over on the Guns and Gear text line, Johnny says, Clay, the Jackson thugs don't go to school. Well, valid point. Valid point here early. Let's see here. Paul on the Guns and Gear text line says, She forgot Florence. There were threats there last week. It was kept quiet, but all the parents got notified. Was there? I heard one about, I was talking to a guy, said there was one at Richland also. I don't know if they mentioned that. But, look, I believe the schools are safe. I think these threats are nothing. But unfortunately, you had to take them seriously because look at what happened in Georgia. A threat was called in there. And I don't know how serious it was or wasn't taken, but they didn't have time, given the benefit of the doubt here, because I don't think there's any reason why an educator or somebody at school wouldn't want to be safe. Their lives are at danger too if something like this happens. They didn't have time to implement their safety protocols, and the kid got in with a gun. I'd like to know when he was there. That's going to be an interesting investigation as it unfolds, finding out who made the call, when did he get in the school based on the call. I just really want to see the timeline of events there to know how they had such catastrophic failure where 4 people lost their lives. Let's read a couple of your comments here on the live chat. Let's bounce back real quick. Angie says, some threats by the education system officials. She goes, sorry, I have no filter. I just blurted out our public education system is a threat to our kids. A lot of them are. But we have some good ones, too. Good morning, Missy. Good morning, Kimberly. Good morning, Mike Magazine, Sharon. Hello to everybody. Angie says, they do a great job with the physical safety of our kids, but they're still part of the dumbing down of our kids. I can't argue that. School, private schools are such a good option, homeschooling, and some people will tell you school choice. I don't know. Public school is public school. But if no, that's not true. Public schools aren't public schools. There's some good ones, like I just said. But when you got that federal money coming in, it's rough. Donald Trump said this last night. Let me pull this up. Donald Trump actually brought up the Department of Education last night. Says if he gets elected, he's going to shut it down, which I know he's been saying that. And I want to circle back to the school safety stuff, but this seems timely. Let me pause it so I can get it started with volume. One-man wrecking crew here, guys. One-man wrecking crew. I'll pull it up online real quick so folks can see it there, too. And like I said, this was Trump at a rally in Pennsylvania last night.
We spend more money per pupil than any other country by far, and yet we're at the bottom of the list. Out of 40, we're ranked about number 40. And I'm going to close the Department of Education and move education back to the states. And we're going to do it fast. Maybe I'll have you do that. I'll use Lee. Maybe I'll have you. You could do it. That's not too easy. We'll get somebody great. We'll get Lee Zeldin is here with us tonight. I think that's the job for Lee.
All right, let's take our first break. This is the Clay Edwards Show. We're streaming live worldwide on all the social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, X, and Rumble. Just search Save JXN. Of course, we are pumping across the airwaves on the mothership 103.9 FM, WYAB. Keep the comments coming in online. Keep the chats coming in. Keep the Guns and Gear texts coming in. I'm seeing them all. The phone line, the Mazda of Jackson phone line's wide open. 601-879-0002. We'll be right back in 4 minutes. Don't go anywhere on the Clay Edwards Show. All right, guys, I'm going to pause y'all for a minute, too. Y'all don't go anywhere. Hit the share button. Wherever you're watching this at, please hit the share button. And we will be right back in just a minute online and on the radio. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show here on WYAB. Of course, we are back here on the radio and online. This segment is going to be brought to you by our friends over at Home Hearing Healthcare. Dr. Carrie Tilley is going to be here in the studio with me Thursday from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. But look, live life moves fast, and so do advancements in technology. That includes hearing aids. Dr. Carrie Tilly Snyder at Home Hearing Healthcare has qualified audiologists who can help you navigate all the options to ensure you select the best hearing aid for your lifestyle, your budget, and cosmetic preferences. Whether you're in a crowded restaurant or sitting in a church, a new hearing device can help you hear what is most important, no matter where you are. If you're looking to upgrade your current hearing aid or considering them for the first time, visit homehearinghealthcare.com and schedule an appointment. Again, one of the more interesting interviews I've ever had with a business person or one of our sponsors was with the doctor from Home Hearing Healthcare a month or so ago. Really, really interesting stuff there from her. Did not expect for that to be nearly as good of an interview, so I'm looking forward to round two. And maybe it's because I'm completely deaf in one ear, so hearing is a near and dear to my heart, as it should be all of ours. You don't want to lose your hearing. So if you're having any hearing issues, stay tuned Thursday. Maybe you'll find something out. All right, let's jump back in. We were talking about, and I'm going to read your comments and texts and stuff, but we're talking about school safety and a lot of threats coming in lately, a lot of social media stuff. Now I want to move to actually, the securing the schools beyond just school resource officers and actually a plan to secure the schools. Now, we've talked about this ad nauseum on this show, but I was just thinking about it a little bit last night. And this law where teachers can keep guns now if they want to. I love it. But obviously that needs to be a last line of defense. And here's the other thing. Isn't it a bit of a crapshoot? If you've got a 2A loving patriotic teacher who knows how to shoot and isn't afraid to keep a gun on her, well, your kid won the lottery. Well, or what if you have one of these left-wing rainbow supremacist nut jobs who hates guns? Well, your kid lost the lottery. I don't think that should be the last line of defense for our children's safety in these classrooms. Is which teacher's class they ended up in. That's a damn shame to think of it like that. We need to put as much effort and money into protecting our children as we do our southern border. Oh, wait, I meant Ukraine's border. Why aren't we taking this serious? Because they don't want to take it serious. They don't want to. It's a political issue. Your kids are just like the military. They're just like their soldiers. They're used to fight their wars. If they need to fight a culture war, if they need to start talking about taking guns, you know what happens next. You leave the back door open. I'm not saying, I don't believe that our government sends people in to do these school shootings. I just don't believe that. But just like I don't believe our government necessarily was involved with these guys that tried to kill Trump directly. But again, I've said this before. If you leave the back door open long enough, some nut job is going to sneak in it, and they're going to get what they want. Just like with Trump getting shot and that guy at the golf course the other day, the Uvalde school shooter, literally the back door was left wide open. Some teacher had propped it open so they could run out to their car, or somebody could bring something in and they wouldn't have to run over there because the door is automatic lock from the inside or whatever. You leave it open long enough, somebody's going to sneak in it, and they're going to do exactly what it is you want them to do. Never let a controversy go to waste. Never let a crisis go to waste. I'm sorry. Let's read some of your text messages on the Guns and Gear text line here real quick. By the way, I just got the new FAFO shirt design in. I'm going to put that out there for you guys. Literally, that was the first thing I saw when I opened my phone. I wasn't trying to plug in an ad read there. Crazy T says, as a student there at Pearl that had to assist in military-style funeral for one of the victims, they still haven't put metal detectors in. 25 years and no change. Man, I have a hard time believing there's been no change there. But I never stepped foot inside Pearl High School. I know that it hasn't happened again. Let's see here. Unknown texter. It's got your business name on there, so I'm not going to say it on the air. The Florence or Richland threat ended with a drum major being expelled for supposedly spreading the word via social media that there is a threat to the school. The students are planning a walkout because of that this week. Thank you so much for reminding me of that. A friend of mine sent me a link to the Richland Real Talk group, and I'm not a member of it, and I don't think my membership has been accepted yet. Most of these people that run these Real Talk groups know that Clay Edwards is all up in there looking for people to talk bad about on the radio, and they don't let me in. They don't let me in the Real Talk groups anymore. Yeah, that's a sad situation there. You know, a kid sees something, says something. I mean, that's what we were taught growing up. See something, say something. See something, say something. I mean, don't tell the FBI. They're just going to do the thing. They're just going to say the thing. They were on our radar. Don't tell the FBI. Tell local law enforcement. Gosh dang. FBI. They were on our radar. Yeah, man, that kid, that's a bad deal. I hope they let that kid back in school. It lost its, did I hear right that kid lost its scholarships and everything for reporting that? I need somebody from Richland, from Rankin County Public School. Is Richland an independent school district like Pearl, or is Richland part of Rankin County? I would love for somebody to clear up what happened there. At least give us the district or the school side of the story. Because on the surface, it sounds really bad. Sounds really bad. Sounds like you don't care about the kid's future, when all he cared about or she cared about was everybody else's safety. That's how that sounds to the naked ear. Not good at all. Pull up your chats here. All right, looks like we're caught up on the chats. Well, Angie says, why would they want to shut down AM radio to make it more difficult for we the people to communicate if something heavy were to happen soon? Never ever trust government or government officials. They count on that trust to muck you up, and then they definitely will muck you up and line their pockets. That they will. That they will. Let's see here. We got some more text on the Guns and Gear text line. Let's see here. Aaron, Richland is part of Rankin County. Got it. Aaron says Richland is Rankin County. Okay. So maybe we'll reach out to Rankin County and see if they want to discuss this. I know some people over at Rankin County. Unknown texter. They have the anti-kick door brace on the market that easily installs on doors. Yeah, didn't the school teacher invent that after being involved in a school shooting or a threat or something one time? Or maybe their kid, maybe a parent invented it because their kid was at school, going to school, and it was after a school shooting. I remember seeing a story on the news about that. Thinking, well, that's an easy fix. I mean, you know, it ain't going to work everywhere, but the places that will work, it's a solution. But look, so my thought process on the school, on the securing the schools, is we need to fund it. We need to fund it, just like we're trying to protect the presidents. These churches around here have some of the best security that I've ever seen. There's no reason our schools shouldn't. I think even if funding's an issue, I think there's plenty of people who would volunteer to go through the right training and do it. But that's not what we need. We don't need the retired military guy that'll sit there and do it for free. We don't need any of that. We need the federal government, since they like to meddle in our business about everything else, and they like to dabble their federal funds over these school districts to make sure your kids are wearing the mask, make sure you got a trans bathroom, make sure you got a kitty litter over there for the furries, make sure, well, we can go on and on and on. Make sure you got the gay books in the library. We're going to take your federal funding. How about make sure the damn schools are protected? I would much rather have to explain to my kid that the world we live in has determined that there be metal detectors and security guards with guns at the entrance of the school that had to plan my kid's funeral. And anybody that says different obviously doesn't have kids. I don't even understand why this is an argument. Kristen says, my child's school has trained teachers that can conceal carry guns. Yeah, well, but the problem with that is, Kristen, do they all choose to do it? Or are you just playing the, I hope I got the right teacher lottery when a shooter comes in that classroom? That's the only thing that scares me about that. Please, I hope they all carry. And I appreciate that law passing where they can. Let's see here. James says on the Guns and Gear text line, there's lots of guns being carried in these churches. Should be same way in schools. Unknown texter says, preach it. I'm trying, man. Get fired up about this. Yeah, man, look, I'm going to go out on a limb here and tell you that any church in, and I'm just going to say Rankin or Madison County, is probably at any given time the safest place in Rankin or Madison County on a Wednesday or Sunday. Let's take another break here on the radio. We'll be right back on the Clay Edwards Show on WYAB. All right, guys, y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back in 4 minutes. Keep the comments coming. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show here on WYAB. Guys, I was trying to tell y'all about Johnny's Pizza House yesterday and was having some technical difficulties, and I'm not 100% sure I got to the end of that ad read by the time I finished figuring out my technical difficulties. I just want to revisit Johnny's Pizza House real quick. Do you want some delicious food that is one of a kind? Johnny's Pizza House, a beloved institution rooted in the heart of Louisiana, isn't just a place to grab a slice. It's a slice of Louisiana life. Johnny's has your favorites, but is also your destination for something unique. How about pizza such as the Hog Heaven? It's revved up with smoked ham, bacon, sausage, spicy smoked andouille, jalapenos, and mozzarella cheese. How about the muffaletta? It's a winning combination of salami, ham, olive mix, and mozzarella cheese. I love a good muffaletta. I was somewhere the other night, and they had little mini muffalettas. That's the first bread I've eaten in a while, and it was worth it. I have no regrets, not a single one. Hey, they got desserts, too, over there. How about cinnamon sticks or an 8-inch chocolate chip cookie? They also got loaded cheese sticks with cheddar cheese, bacon, and jalapenos, wings, and more. They're located right there in Gluckstadt, Mississippi. That's Johnny's Pizza House, right there in front of the Mack Hike dealerships across from the high school in Gluckstadt. Really, really good. I've eaten there 3 or 4 times prior to them even being a sponsor. I've got a buddy that lives in Gluckstadt. I don't drink and drive. I crash on his house when we go out. He lives close to Johnny's. It's our pre- and post-game food sometimes. All right, back to the school safety stuff. Man, we got a lot of text on this deal. If you guys want to call in the Mazda Jackson phone line, 601-879-0002. I mentioned that I got a buddy that is a school resource officer here locally. He sent this in. We were talking about those. We were talking about those door lock devices, and this is from a school resource officer that's also a deputy. A deputy, and he says these door lock devices are useless. After studying other school shootings around the country, all the shooters walked into an unlocked room. Teachers are required by policy to get their doors locked at all times while class is in session. Constant security checks on exterior doors are done throughout the school day. So if I'm reading that right, the doors are supposed to be shut anyway, and shut and locked. These shooters are walking into unlocked classrooms. So I don't know. I mean, I could see where I guess it depends on how many classrooms they go through when they're doing their damage. If you have one and the alarm goes off and the teachers can stop the rest of them, but Yeah, I guess I can see your point. He also says being around the school as much as possible is also key to safety, building relationships with the students and gaining their trust, assuring them that you care. That's how we're able to get information about the threat last week. Let's take a call here on the Mazda of Jackson phone line. Well, caller, call back. It hung up on you. Well, that sucks. Yeah, caller, call back. I want to hear what you got to say. Let's hit up some more of your text this morning on the Guns and Gear text line. This is a hot topic. Always is. Well, I like talking about it. John says, instead of a gun-free zone, there should be a FAFO sign. I can't argue that. Let's see here. Crazy T says, teachers aren't paid enough to be SWAT too. The point, they shouldn't make it into the school period. No disagreement there. No disagreement. But we're just talking about last line of defense. You know, that I guess that's my whole point, is they should never make it to the teachers needing it. And luckily, you know, we've been blessed around here. We haven't had that problem in 25 years. Let's try taking this phone call again. Hey, you're on there. Hey, you're on the radio.
Hey, this is Bill. Hey, I just wanted to say, this is Bill.
Hey, Bill.
Hey, good morning. Hey, I just want to say, like, I know in the case of, like, church or school shooting or anywhere else for that matter, that the trick is you have to stop them before they get inside. If they get inside, it's too late, because you're going to have, like I said, there will be a lot of people in there with doing the concealed carry thing, but if you don't know how good they're trained, and if they try to engage with somebody, they're going to shoot somebody they don't want to shoot.
Agreed.
But my thing is, you've got to stop them before they get in. If you see a threat coming, you need to engage the threat and make sure that they can't get in. If the person that engages with that threat, if they go down, they have to make sure that they cannot get inside. So, I mean, to me, that's probably the key, is have that outside perimeter of defense, constantly looking for the threat, and don't let them get inside no matter what you do.
Yeah, hey, look, I went to church over there at Hickory Ridge for the first time I've been in person in a while. I've been getting lazy watching online, and it's some new security team members since the last time I was there, and they've remodeled the church, and you kind of come in a back entrance. I looked suspicious. I'll admit it, because I was lost trying to figure out how to get in there now. And look, man, a couple of those guys, I don't think that they knew I knew they were security, but I knew they were security because I went to church there for almost 10 years now. So I just kind of know the way the security guys act. And I was like, I'm just waiting on somebody. It's like, I promise I'm not a threat. I can be. I'm just kidding. I'm not a threat, but they were doing their job, and I was impressed by it. You know, that they saw me looking lost and were kind of like keeping an eye on me, you know?
Yeah.
So to your point, that was at the entranceway. They were going to keep that threat out of there if I started acting suspicious, which I was not going to. But so I was impressed, because I don't think I'm a suspicious looking person. You know, I think I stick out like a sore thumb. But anyway, well, yeah, man, great call. I appreciate it, brother.
Sure.
All right, thanks. Yeah, I mean, look, these churches do an amazing job. They do a great job. They take it serious. You know? And I want to be very careful about what we say about these schools, because there's a lot of people there that are doing a great job, and it's not their fault. You know, it's not their fault that it's underfunded. So the things I say here are definitely not about the people that are boots on ground doing the best they can. It's about the federal government or even the state government not funding this better. You know, again, I just think about all the money we waste sending weapons and all that to Ukraine and everywhere else. And I guess I'm gonna pick on Roger Wicker here for a minute. You know, 'cause I don't know. I'm saying I'm shooting from the hip here. I don't know this. I just know that we need more funding. You know, so instead of being worried about Ukraine and, you know, nuking Russia and all this other stuff, let's worry about some stuff here back home. That's what I would like to see. Michael Guest, Roger Wicker. I mean, I know one's a congressman, one's a senator. Cindy Hyde Smith. I would love to just know what y'all are doing, about making our schools safer. And if you're doing something, great. I'm not saying you're not. But to me, until we got armed guards at every door of the school, I don't know that we're doing enough. Maybe that's too much. I don't know. Is it? It's not too much, when some kids get killed. I guess that's how I look at it. It just seems very avoidable. Very avoidable. Let's see here. The text machine is melting in live time here. Unknown. I think it's Alan says, Clay, the root cause is mental illness. We have to identify quickly and not be scared to report at-risk individuals. Yeah, I mean, obviously they're mentally ill, but I want to be very careful about these red flag law type things, because then who determines what's crazy enough to take your gun? If Clay Edwards still lived in Jackson, Mississippi, or in downtown Fondren, Belhaven, or something like that, around a bunch of left-wing nut jobs, and they knew I was MAGA, if I had a Trump sign in my yard like I do out there in Brandon, would that be enough to initiate a red flag and JPD come and try to take my guns? We just want to be very careful about that. Because, I think it should be enough to take your guns in Rankin County if you've got a Kamala Harris, Tim Walz sign. I'm kidding. But I don't mean I'm not keeping an eye out on you. Keep my kids away from your yard. Keep my cats and dogs away from your yard, too. Crazy T says, yes, school's trained to protect our kids, but every time there's a school shooting, we go through the same arguments, and yet things, for the most part, stay the same. Yep, they do. Unknown texter. The schools will start looking like a prison if we had armed guards. Give the teachers the option to carry and no-cost training. They have that now. And the schools can look like a prison because, again, I'd rather explain to my kid why the school looks like a prison and have to plan my kid's funeral. Let's take our last break of the first hour. This is the Clay Edwards Show. We'll be right back. All right, guys. Been a fun first hour. Hope everybody's doing good out there. Jason says funding stuff back home don't line politicians' pockets. That's the damn truth. Sherry says there should be metal detectors at every door. You got metal detectors at every door and somebody working them. We were able to keep our nightclub safe. Guy Fawkes, I like the name. Give teachers the guns. Yeah, again, the only problem with that is if you can't force the teachers to hold the guns, and a lot of our teachers have been ate up with liberalism, and they don't want to have guns. Then you're just playing the lottery with your kids. Like, they had the right teacher. Sorry, little Timmy, little Johnny were in the wrong classroom. Their teacher didn't have a gun. I don't think that should be the last line of defense. I don't think that should. I think the front door should be the last line of defense. But the teacher should have guns. I don't disagree at all. Guy, I'm about to put some more. If your size isn't available, let me know. I'm about to add some more to the site. I have an update. I rushed out of the house this morning, but I'm placing a new shirt order. And what I did was I took the sizes off the site that weren't available so people weren't held up waiting on one until I got an order. I'm about to put more shirts on there. I got a new logo, too. I'm about to put a new shirt on there as well. I'm going to drop all that today. Just make sure you follow me on social media. When I get off here, I'm putting the new FAFO shirt design. And, of course, I got these Vote Felon shirts going to be back in stock, too. It says, Make Liberals Cry Again. Yep. All right, look, I'm going to pause this for just a second. And I'll tell you what, I'm just going to talk to y'all until we come back, because when we come back, we're only going to have like a minute left, and then we're going to go into hour 2 after a 7-minute break. So let's see here. Let's read a few more of your texts. Lindsay says, teachers have the option Guardian Act passed almost 2 years ago. It is not disclosed to the public which teachers have chosen to train and carry. And look, and I love that, Lindsay. I do. I mean, that's what we were talking about a little bit earlier. I'm not sure if you were listening or not. You know, I think that's great. I guess my biggest fear is, what if your kid's in the wrong classroom and that teacher chose not to carry? I think that's the fear. Eileen says these parents do not care for their children, where they get killed or what. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, I think you're wrong on that. I think parents definitely care about their children, if I'm reading that right. Jason, Hines Community College has policies that don't allow teachers to carry even with the law tape passed. That's disappointing. We should take their funding immediately, if that's true. Yep, Lindsay sent a text too. Says, "Yep, let them look like a prison." Yeah, I think if you give 99.999 100% of the parents the choice, school look like a prison, or maybe your kid dies today, I think they're going to go, school looks like a prison. All right, we're getting ready to come back from the break here. Y'all bear with me 1 second. We'll be silent for just a second. All right, welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show here on WYAB. Guys, coming up top of hour 2, Miss Naked and Afraid herself, Heather Smith Outdoors, is going to be calling in for a segment or two. We're going to be discussing her brand new best-selling book, The Single Parent's Survival Guide, or The Survival Guide to Being a Single Parent. I read the description of it last night. It looks wildly entertaining, and Heather's a very entertaining individual, so looking forward to talking to her. Also, Burgers Blues Barbecue. I got some Nashville hot wings from there last night. My daughter got some of the chicken bites. Fire, yeah. I ordered 2 orders of the Nashville hot wings, so I'd have another order to eat for lunch today. Oh, man, they were so good. Get by. Look, don't forget they got the new Flowwood location right there at Dogwood, right in front of Dick's Sporting Goods. Get by the Flowwood location if you're over that way. Get one of their award-winning burgers. They're Nashville hot smoked wings. They got other flavors too, but their wings are smoked, not fried. They taste better. They're better for you. Juicy. And they reheat well, too. Get over there today. Try one of the blue plate specials. They got breakfast over there at the Dogwood location right now. Fried chicken and waffles and so much other great stuff. I just always talk about the chicken and waffles because that's what I would get if I was over there eating breakfast. And, hey, if you're just getting off work at one of those doctor's offices over there, one of those hospitals, working that third shift, stop by. $1 off Bloody Marys, mimosas, and draft beer at the Dogwood location of Burgers Blues Barbecue. And don't forget, I'll be out at Burgers Blues Barbecue tomorrow night in downtown Brandon, starting at 5 o'clock with a live stream, and then 7 o'clock, Cordless Corner starts. We'll be right back in 7 minutes with Heather Smith on WYAB. All right, guys, we'll be back in 7 minutes. Don't go nowhere. Going to have a whole lot more to go this morning. It's going to be a good time. I promise. Boom. Shaka, laka, boom. You've tuned in to the Free Range Human Show of Choice, your daily dose of reality radio. It's hour 2 of the Clay Edwards Show. This segment here is going to be brought to you by Martin's. Hey, this Friday, Martin's out there in Livingston. We're going to have our 3rd FAFO Friday lunch. Sean's going to be joining me. We're going to be set up. We're going to do a live stream right there in the middle of the restaurant at lunchtime. It's going to be insane. I can't believe I volunteered myself to do this. I mean, it was my idea, but I thought it would be fun, and I think it will be fun. So we're going to be set up. We're going to get there about 10:30. I think they start letting people in about 10:30, 10:45 or so. So you may want to get there early, get a table, because it does get packed at Martin's Livingston. It gets packed at Martin's downtown too. So get out. It's going to be a fun time. You're going to have Sean. You're going to have myself. And we're going to be doing it big right there at Martin's downtown. All right. I think we got Heather on the line here. Hey, Heather, you there?
Good morning, Clay.
Good morning. We got Heather Smith, Miss Heather Smith, outdoors here on the phone with us. Heather, how you doing?
I'm good. I just got back from dropping off the littles at school, back in mom mode,
I know.
So life is good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I should really have a producer, but I am juggling things like a magician, like one of those people in the circus on a one-wheel bicycle, juggling bowling pins, trying to talk on the phone and produce some show and do it on the internet. It's fun. I wouldn't have it any other way.
We have a saying for that. It's busier than a one-legged man in a butt-kicking contest.
Yes, that's it. That is I.
Yeah.
Well, look.
Yeah. I tell you. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no. Look, I was going to say, you're one of the most interesting people I know. I mean, you've got so much going on, whether it's the Naked and Afraid stuff, it's your outdoors, your fishing, and just all the other stuff you're involved in. And you're a single mom. How many kids you have, Heather?
I have 3. One is older. I'm actually a grandmother, too. So I have an older daughter from a first marriage, and then I have the 2 littles from my second marriage. But I have no longer have husbands. I just have kids.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're probably winning there. I'm just going to be honest.
That's right.
We get a little harder to deal with as we get older.
I know. And you know what's funny is, when I started Heather Smith Outdoors, I was concentrating so much on me. I decided, you know what, and that's my whole family had died. And, they say don't make any decisions, especially when you lose someone close to you for at least a year, right? Because you won't make an impulse decision, out of grief. So I decided I wasn't going to date anyone. And then I really focused on the gym. I noticed that you focus on the gym. You're looking great, by the way, when I saw you in Mississippi.
Thank you.
Then I really started to like who I am, and realizing that I didn't need another half to find happiness, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think I was searching for, when you're younger, before you learn to really like who you are as a person and love who you are and what you do. Sometimes we have a tendency to search for happiness and hoping maybe we could find it. And I hear that a lot, I'm looking for happiness. Well, if you're not happy alone, then you're never going to be happy with someone else. And then finally I got so happy and so set in my ways, before I know it, like you said, I've got so many irons in the fire. Here we are, fast forward 6 years later, and I'm like, it's going to take somebody pretty spectacular to make me change my schedule.
Yeah, I went through a breakup recently, and I just kind of told myself, like the day after that, I said, I'm going to, not that anybody was ever keeping me from doing anything I wanted to do. It wasn't like that. But I was like, man, I got to really get some better habits. And it's getting back to the gym every day. It's kind of getting back to taking care of myself the way I want to, and not feeling like I got to be with somebody. I went straight from a marriage that didn't work to a 2-year relationship almost. And it was like, you know what? I'm just going to take a little break. And if something happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm going to go out and have a good time, do what I do, and we'll see where things fall. But that feeling like you got to pursue somebody or got to be with somebody, that's for the birds. That is for the birds.
And I'm proud of you, Clay, because once you make that decision, I've noticed before that, relationships have a tendency, you go from one mistake to another, and you don't have time to heal the process. And now that I've done that, I sit back and I would watch. Meanwhile, while I'm doing all of my other stuff, I would have all these people come to me, and I would watch them go from breakup to new person to new person I had one guy in particular I'll never forget. He would call me, and literally I think he'd break up with one girl by breakfast, and he was already at lunch with another one. And I'm like, how are you letting those feelings heal? Were those feelings even real? And it really gave me basically, I felt like I was watching a drive-in movie, of people, and it really actually made me think, ugh, you know what I mean? It gave me the icks, to watch how some people operate, and I was like, I don't want to be one of those people. So I think that's probably a very, very healthy choice, and it's extremely empowering, and I got a lot more done. A lot of people nowadays, they make comments, must be nice, when, I'm doing stuff, or when me and Ashley go and do stuff, or if, me and the littles go, or whatever I'm doing, And I'm like, they say only knew how many sacrifices I had to make to do that, and I remember, I get a lot of girls that want what I have, and some of them are jealous, and they make comments, and I'm thinking, you give up completely. I mean, I had no social life whatsoever for probably almost 3 years, not at all, period. Hanging out with friends, sorry, can't do it, really got to focus. And I was either in the gym, or with the littles. Obviously, the only break, other than concentrating on work, the only thing I did was spend time with my children, and do their events or something. And other than that, that's what it took to get me where I'm at right now.
No, yeah, look, I mean, like right after my most recent thing, I did go out on a date with somebody that I knew, and I was like, man, we both, she was kind of going through the same thing, and we were just both like, man, we're so much better being friends. Let's just, neither one of us want this. Yeah,
I've tried that too. I tried that with one of my really, really good friends, and it was funny because we had been friends since we were 17 years old, or we still are friends. We're friends since we were 17, and we both made jokes that we would kill each other, like making jokes, because we both know each other so well. Like when I say, I'm 47, we were friends since I was 17. That says a lot, and we were both making jokes about it, and then of course we're both like, after a couple of weeks. And then we were both like, look, our friendship means more than this. At least that's why I definitely piped up. I was like, look, your friendship means a lot to me, and I think that this is going to ruin our friendship. So, and I wanted to focus more. And that's the thing, too, when you're, especially with you, like you've got your own show going right now. And I know, how it's like. I know I've met your beautiful daughter. Being a parent and trying to juggle work and to be successful, not just mediocre, not just eat meat, ends meet, you know what I mean? To be extremely successful, that takes dedication and discipline. And you don't have time for those date nights, and you don't have time for those little things. Now, it comes later, but when you're really trying to push yourself to a level, because everybody else wants to be at that same level. So you're competing against that.
You are. All right, so this, I could sit here and talk about this all day, but I don't want to put our listeners to sleep talking about relationship stuff, but all that lays the groundwork for your book.
I'm saying. It really lays the groundwork for what we're going to talk about. Yeah,
it does. So it lays the groundwork for the book. Let's get started, and we'll have to take a break here in about 5 minutes. But I want to jump in to this. Just came out. It's called The Survivalist Guide to Single Parents by Heather Smith. So in the midst of all this, you've written a damn book, a best-selling book too on Amazon, right?
Yeah. It's the number one new release on Amazon in its genre, and then it's at different numbers. But I'm in the top 10 in multiple different genres. But I'm the number one for children and family for literature and guides. So it's the Survivalist Guide. So I wrote it from the perspective of someone I've been on Naked and Afraid 3 times, and got 82 days in the wild. And it is a true story because I came home from Excel. And I sat down and I thought about it when I came home from Excel, the 40 days when I survived in Colombia. And I had got my teeth kicked in. I mean, it was, I think, everyone on television and actually around the world, because now it's airing in Europe and Latin America, and I'm getting messages in different languages, which is always fun when it airs later. But that was obviously very brutal on my body and so demanding. And then my children started telling me their schedule for their sporting events and practice and the different, things that we had to done and projects and, all this other stuff. And I was like, oh my God, it's easier to survive in the jungle, right? And so, you kind of look at it one day and you're like, that's it. I'm going back to fighting the mosquitoes, And so that inspired me. That inspired me to want to write the book. And I wrote the book. And it really is from the perspective, and I think that anybody that takes on the role as a single parent, or they're considering taking on the role as a single parent, and they want to know what their options are, just know that you're really up against the what I truly believe is the biggest challenge that any human will face in their lifetime. Is raising children is always difficult enough, but when you have a partner that taps out and you have to take it on your own, then you've got double the work. And so I use my humor. You know me, I'm like the queen of sarcasm, right? So
touche.
I wrote it in like a witty, irreverent tone, and and just tried to show you got to still have a sense of humor through all of it, because that'll push you through, and that you can't give up, and it just took real life experiences, and I kind of outlined everything and how you can still take a break and still survive, and without wanting to pull your hair out some days, because there are going to be days that We all know that you didn't get any sleep. You know, you're still having to do the school project. You started out doing it together. Then you look over and they're gluing pom-poms to their shoelaces and you're the one putting the planets together, you know, on the project. And so, or now, you know, even worse, when they come home with Common Core, you know, you're like, what is this? You know, it's like,
I didn't learn this.
Yeah, you know, and then I caught myself telling my daughter the other day, and I shouldn't even said it, you know, and we were on our way. She's like, I had an algebra test. And I go, I just want you to know that at no point in your life after you graduate will you need to use algebra. I'm just saying. You know, it's like, no. But, you know, I said, but you will need to know how to balance a checkbook, so we're going to work on it, you know. So those are little things. But, yeah that's
I got into
the
it.
book.
I got into an argument talking about algebra. I got into an argument with a buddy of mine one time, and he was like, I was like, look, man, I dropped out in the 10th grade, and me and you were at the same place in life. He's like, yeah, but you know, math and stuff, it teaches you how to be a critical thinker. So that really, I felt like he won that argument in that moment. So this is like 5 years later. I've sat here and I'm like, you know what? I'm a pretty damn good critical thinker, and I still can't do algebra. But yeah, you don't need it.
I think anybody that reads a conspiracy site or tries to compare, you know, different forms of theology could be considered a critical thinker. So I don't. I think it's all somebody's perspective. I don't like math, you know, but I want somebody to know it correctly. If I give somebody a 20 at a stop and go, you know, I want to get the change back correctly. It's, you know, I think they said to me, as a matter of fact, during the whole plague that happened, you know, they had the Common Core question, and I said, or, you know, I was trying to talk to my daughter, and she kept coming up with the wrong answer with the way that they wanted us to write it out. And I was communicating with the teacher, and, you know, we were all quarantined at that time. And I said, well, he's coming up with the wrong answer. She said, it's not the answer that counts. It's the path to getting there. We just want to make sure she's doing it the right path. And I said, well, let me tell you something. If I go to Shell and I've got $75 in gas and I give somebody a $100 bill, I don't care about the path. I want $25 back. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that's like getting to the right neighborhood. Then it not matter in what house you go in.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, I think sometimes, again, it's all about perspective. You know, I want to know the bottom line, but you know, I think that we need to take things lighthearted, and the book was, you know, me taking experiences. I think at one point in there, and in the foreword, I make a joke about how, you know, I once spent a week in a jungle trying to light a fire, you know, and it was a wet jungle. And I said, you're going to need that same exact energy whenever you're trying to get a toddler to eat green vegetables. You know, you're going to have to bring that same energy, like never give up. It's going to take a minute, you know, and you're eventually going to get to do it. So, I mean, that's really what parenting is, right? Because they always depend on you. You have these little eyeballs looking up at you, and you can't give up.
No, Heather, can you do another segment with me?
Yeah, sure.
All right, we're going to take a 4-minute break. We got Heather Smith, Miss Heather Smith Outdoors, talking about her new book, The Survivalist Guide to Single Parenting. Is that the right title?
For single parents.
The Survivalist Guide for Single Parents. Yep, got it right here. I had to pull it up on my phone. All right, we'll be right back with Heather Smith. If y'all got any questions in the comments or the Guns and Gear text line, let me know. 769-241-1944 is the Guns and Gear text. If you're watching on the Facebook, YouTube, X stream, feel free to drop some comments there, and we'll ask Heather your questions when we come back. Right back in 4 minutes on WYAB, a.k.a. The Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show. We got Miss Heather Smith Outdoors, here on the phone with us. Heather, I'm going to get you to help me with an ad read real quick. One of my big sponsors is a men's testosterone clinic, Men's Health of Mississippi. And I just, from a woman's perspective, tell our single guys out there, heck, our married guys, just, I mean, I don't know what kind of guy you're attracted to, but based on the kind of stuff you're into, I'm assuming you like a kind of a masculine man, a strong, independent man, a guy who's not lacking testosterone. That's a pretty important thing for a guy out there, isn't it?
Yeah, I prefer men not to wear dresses. Yeah. So, yeah, testosterone is important. Testosterone is not only important for men; it's also important for women.
It truly is.
Once a woman hits 40, or even after 35, the testosterone levels start to decline, and it decreases your metabolism. You start getting lethargic. Same with men. your testosterone levels, you're more tired, you're apt to getting that belly fat that you develop and that big belly, and you start seeing muscle atrophy. So I think testosterone is important for both men and women.
Yeah.
And I think that supplements, as you get older, still keep you back because, we're living longer and longer lives than we did from before. And there are more and more chemicals that are put into our water and into processed foods. We're not eating like we used to with, or in the 1950s, 40s, whatever, when they were growing their own vegetables. And we're seeing now more genetically modified vegetables and fruits. This is one of the levelers, and it's not like you're taking a medication. You're not taking something synthetic. You're actually taking a hormone that's the same hormone that's in your body, and I highly recommend anyone getting testosterone treatment. Hey,
man, look, text my name, Clay, all caps, to 601-327-8550, 601-327-8550. The Clay Edwards Show is hooking you up with a complimentary testosterone screening today, and I'm telling you, it's the best thing you'll ever do. One of our listeners here watching on the Facebook streams, Terry, says, "Hey Clay, I'm 70 and I recently had my testosterone levels checked and it is high 800s and my wife hasn't thanked me yet." I said, "Well, she's being a bit ungrateful because if yours is in the 800s, you are breathing rarefied air at 70 years old, my friend. So congratulations to that."
That guy's like a dragon.
I mean, goodness gracious. I like it. I like it. I mean, that's mine's floating around that number too, but I'm 47.
Right? This guy's like a Mike Tyson of testosterone at 80.
I like it, man. I have a new role model to look up to, something to aspire to be.
I love talking to my elders. So my mentor was Bob Seeley, which I dedicated, my book was dedicated to my children and to Bob, who just passed away. He was a 2-time Hall of Fame bass fisherman. And that's one thing, I've always found, if you see an old man, sitting there with an apple and a pocket knife, right, and he's peeling it with that thumb, that's the guy you want in the room that you want to ask for advice, Yep.
All right, so we got Heather Smith, star of Naked and Afraid, and so many other things. I always hate you to go just to Naked and Afraid because it's not fair to you. Tell people all the stuff you got going on, Heather.
So I've got Heather Smith Outdoors. I fish on the hogfin team. So we do competitive saltwater fishing. I have another invitation to fish another tournament next month down in Cabo, but that's not solid yet, so I don't want to go on to that. I have a social media marketing and social media management company that I run here. I live with here on Sam Rayburn. And then I am the outdoor editor for Florida Fisherman Magazine, and now I've written a new book, The Survivalist Guide for Single Parents, and actually I have a series coming out, so I'll be dropping more books actually in the series, and then have some other books coming off.
Is it going to be like a Survivalist Guide series, Survivalist Guide to this, that feels like the next potential dummies edition type books. I don't mean that as an insult,
Correct.
but I mean just
Correct.
same kind of concept.
Yeah, same kind of concept. I think I'm planning on doing a kids fishing book. And I'd like to have that out by Christmas. I'm thinking by Black Friday I'll drop it. I don't know if that will be the Survivalist Guide. I think it's just going to be more good for kids.
Sure.
And then I'm definitely going to do one for Survivalist Guide for single parents for the teenage years. That's coming. And then the Survivalist Guide, and then there's a few others. I just don't want to let the secret out just yet. But there are definitely going to be additions to that series. And then I have hard copies. And obviously everyone from the show loves my Heatherism, so I will more than likely drop a Heatherism coffee table book.
That's going to be good. So the book is out. It's available at Amazon. Is it available anywhere else? Any bookstores?
It's for right now. I mean, it just came out. I believe it was over the weekend, and it already hit the bestseller list. So it just kind of skyrocketed really quick, which I was really, really happy about. And the reviews on it are really great. So what I have is out. It's an ebook form right now. If you're with Kindle Unlimited, you can actually download it for free on the Kindle library. So boom, there you go. And then in a couple of weeks, the paperback is going to be coming out. And then I'll be able to do autographed copies of people's paperbacks.
That was my next question.
But yeah, absolutely. And so and then we'll follow it up. And then after the paperback is out for a couple of weeks, then I'm going to drop another book. So this is kind of a staggered process through Christmas for me.
I dig it. Heather, I want to just tell you thanks so much for taking the time to jump on. You're always such an interesting follow. I've got to meet you a couple times now. You're just as interesting in person as you are on the interwebs and on TV. So that's a rare air. You're breathing rarefied air as our 800 testosterone man is there. Most people aren't as talented or as entertaining in person or as online as they are in person, vice versa. You seem to be kind of a jack of all trades. So stay unique. Keep doing you. I know you get a lot of hate out there too, as we all do, as we find success. You clearly haven't let that bother you.
If you don't have any haters, you're not doing something right, you know?
No, you're not. You're not. Heather Smith, I want to just say thank you again for taking the time this morning. We got to get you here in the studio at some point in time. Next time you're in Jackson, bring me a book or something.
Oh, absolutely. I got to come over and I got to come see Ashley soon. So I don't know when I'll be able to break away because, like I said, you know, I'm in writer mode right now. So and then, you know, the kids have school. Again, it's balance. So I've got to be able to walk that walk, I think, to write those books. So I just wanted to say to all the parents out there, if you're listening, if you know, you're doing something right, you know, so don't give up on yourself. You are doing something right. So,
well, no, I was thinking about it during the break. You know, people are listening right now and thinking, "Oh, I'll never need that. I'm not going to be a single parent." Well, I don't know. 50% of marriages end in divorce, so you got a 50-50 shot at ending up a single parent.
Well, and not only that, a lot of people that are married are really single parents. I hate to say it, but you know, the ones that are married and stay married, they're the ones doing all the work, and they feel like they're single parents. It also applies to a lot of people that have a spouse that works offshore or, you know, is
that's a good
more
point.
into their hobbies. We have a lot of that. There's sometimes that the guy, you know, and it's hard sometimes the girl. It's not always the woman. And this wasn't written for single moms. This was written for single parents. There's lots of single dads out there. And my dad raised me for many, many years. I think that it shows that this book, there's a lot of people that, you know, one parent is more consumed with their hobbies. And it seems to be a relationship for you know, that they're both accepting of. And then one parent is doing all the work, and that parent can get overloaded. So this book can apply to those individuals that are carrying the load or, you know, the weight of the world on their shoulders. That's
a good point. Heather Smith, Go find her book, The Survivalist Guide to, tell me the right phrase again, Survivalist Guide to.
It's all right, I got you. It's a survivalist guide for single parents. If you look it up on Amazon, you'll check it out, put it in there again. It's only $3.99, right? So I made it affordable. I know what it's like being a parent. You've got to be on a shoestring budget. I do talk about that in the book. So I wanted it to be affordable so everybody can read it. That way they can have a little bit of lighthearted, you know, encouragement and kind of know what their odds are and what they're up against and facing when, you know, from birth to tween. You can also follow me on Heather Smith Outdoors on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube. And check me out if you haven't seen me already. Season 15, Episode 6, Naked and Afraid Castaways, and Naked and Afraid XL.
I dig it. Heather Smith, thank you so much for taking the time this morning. Stay blessed.
All right. Thanks for having me on, Clay. Okay, bye.
All right, man. Appreciate Heather jumping on with us. Let's take a break. Come back. We're going to shuffle the deck, get back to, we got some great text about school safety, and I got another topic or two I want to hit as well. This is the Clay Edwards Show. We'll be right back in 4 minutes on WYAB and online, wherever you're watching it at. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show here on WYAB. We are live. Sorry about that. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. It would help if I hit the right buttons. We're live here on WYAB, streaming worldwide at WYAB.com, as well as the Save Jackson Facebook, YouTube, and X account, as well as the Clay Edwards Show Rumble page. We don't get many views on Rumble, but some of you guys, it's like 10 of you that listen to it over there, and hey, there's 10 of you that listen to it somewhere, I'm gonna go there and find you. So we do appreciate those 10 folks over on Rumble. Much appreciated. I watch some stuff on Rumble, so I get it. I do. My boy Salty Cracker does his second hour of his show only on Rumble, so I have to keep the Rumble app for that. This segment brought to you by our friends over at 042 Wine and Spirits, right there, Highway 80, Brandon, Mississippi, right next to Sonny's Barbecue in 042 Brandon. It's in the name. I shouldn't have to tell you 042 Wine and Spirits. It's not in the 047. Get over there to see all the guys, man. Kevin, Kim, the whole bunch. My highly experienced staff can help you out with any of your purchases. Can help you out with any mixed drink recipes you may need and more. They got everything, locally owned, locally operated, from little airplane bottles to your setups to your hard-to-find wines, bourbons, moonshines, and more. They got it all at 042 Wine and Spirits. I'll tell you what, I was talking about this the other day, man. We are living in the golden age of craft Bloody Mary mixes. Now, look, I mean, they got the Zing Zang and all that too, which I like. But if you want to try some different Bloody Mary mixes without having to do all the doctoring up yourself, stop by 042 Wine and Spirits and check out their mixers today. Of course, they got all your margarita mixers and all that stuff as well. So you'd be really surprised what all they have pre-mixed there for you now. Not pre-mixed, but the mixers, and you put your own liquor in. Anyway, check it out, 042 Wine and Spirits, right there, Highway 80, next to Sonny's Barbecue, or West Government Street, next to Sonny's Barbecue in Brandon, Mississippi. Man, we appreciate Heather for jumping on with us. Again, always fun talking to Heather. Let's circle. Do we want to circle back to the school stuff? How about we play it forward here a little bit? We got one good segment left here. Let's end strong today with some Donald Trump stuff. How about that? Trump was on fire last night at his rally in Pennsylvania. Let me pull my favorites up here real quick, my bookmarks. And I got a bunch of stuff from Trump. Oh, you know what? Even better than that. I'm sorry. Here's something that really grinded my gears. MSNBC put this out yesterday. And I've seen and I'm actually really disappointed in some of our local media guys. They got to barking at Tate Reeves about this the other day. Tate was talking about crime is on the rise in the country, and and one of them commented that crime is down in your state, so on and so forth. Well, yeah, it's down. Do you know that only 52% of police agencies in the state of Mississippi report their crime data to the FBI? Let's listen to this report here by MSNBC. Then I'm going to bust some facts down on y'all. And, of course, Jackson does not report its crime stats to the FBI, and neither do New York or Los Angeles. But, yeah, crime's down across the country. LOL. Here we go.
And we're also following breaking news this morning. Just moments ago, the FBI released a new report showing the national crime rate decreased in 2023. NBC's Ken Delanian is with us this morning. Ken, good morning. Break down what this report says.
Good morning, Jose. This report is entitled Crime in the Nation. It's the FBI's best estimate of what happened last year in terms of crime, and it shows a significant decrease. Violent crime decreased an estimated 3% last year, according to the FBI. Murder and manslaughter came down an estimated 11.6%. That's the biggest drop in the last 20 years. Aggravated assault down 2.8%. And here's what's also important to know about this, Jose, because there's been a lot of criticism of FBI crime data. This data covered 94% of the U.S. population. And while it's true that not all crimes are reported, all murders are counted. And what this shows big picture, because this is the second year in a row that the FBI has documented a decline in violent crime, it shows that after a big spike during the pandemic, violent crime is back down to around 2019 levels, which was historic lows, really, when you compare it to the 1990s. And, of course, this contradicts what Donald Trump and many of his Republican allies have been saying. They've been out on the campaign trail saying that violent crime is increasing dramatically in cities around the country. It's just not what the numbers show, Jose. I was in Detroit recently, spent some time with the Detroit police. That is historically a very dangerous city. They've made incredible progress there. Murder is at levels they haven't seen since 1966. Why? The reason this is happening are manyfold. Police departments are doing some innovative things. In Detroit, they're putting cameras at gas stations all over the city, for example.
Oh, well, they have a gas station problem. They got a problem with young black Democrats shooting each other at gas stations, too. In Detroit, that's not just a Jackson, Mississippi thing. I learned something new today.
That's really reduced carjackings, but it's also systemic. There was a huge increase during the pandemic when society was in a state of disorder, and now we're settling back down to pre-pandemic levels.
All right, well, let's unpack why this is, of course, a lie. Pesky facts. Pesky Clay Edwards digging up his facts. So let me open this link here real quick. Man, I did a lot of show prep last night to only talk about one thing so far today. It'll give me something to talk about tomorrow. All right, let's see here. I'm pulling this up now. This is from the Marshall Project. It says, see if police in your state reported crime data to the FBI. Nearly 1/3 of law enforcement agencies are missing from the FBI's 2022 crime statistics. Using our table to check on your states and local agencies. Let's see here. Mississippi. Here we go. I just want to read all this real quick, though. It says, in 2022, 31% of the 18,000 law enforcement agencies across the U.S. failed to report crime data to the FBI National Database and transitioning to a new data collection system, according to the latest statistics from the FBI. Participation has improved since 2021, when almost 40% of the agencies were missing. The Marshall Project continues to follow the real-world consequences of the gaps. In Mississippi, I mean, this is police-loving, red on top of red, back to blue, Mississippi. Only 52% of law enforcement agencies reported crime data to the FBI, and 43% reported a full year of crime data in 2022. 119 out of 230 law enforcement agencies in Mississippi successfully submitted data to the FBI through the National Incident-Based Reporting System in 2022. The agencies that reported any crime stats represent roughly 1 in 2 people in the state. 43 states and the District of Columbia had higher reporting rates than Mississippi. In Mississippi, the law enforcement agency with the largest jurisdiction that did not report 12 months of crime data to the FBI is, drum roll please, Jackson, Mississippi. Paint me shocked. The Jackson Police Department, should I say, which did not report any data in 2022. According to the FBI, 159,000 people live under its jurisdiction, which represents 5% of the people living in the state. And in 2022, Jackson was, in fact, one of the deadliest cities, if not the deadliest in the U.S. for, I think, the second year in a row. We know it was in 2021. I think it was in 2022 also. So a good job, Jackson. Good job not reporting your crime stats. I guess it just didn't happen. It's like a tree falling in the woods. When you don't report it, it just doesn't happen. The Guns and Gear text line is 769-241-1944. If you're streaming or you're watching us online, you're welcome to drop your comments there. Lindsay did say she thought the election was going to come down to Pennsylvania. I did mention that. I just wanted to get that off my chest. So it's also New York and Los Angeles didn't report their crime. So when Joe Biden and Kamala Harris run around here and talk about crime is down under their watch over the last 4 years, they are in fact a damn lie. I can look at the crime stats right here in Mississippi that I have available and tell you that crime is in fact not really down. 10 less murders this year when you're doing over 100 every year. It really isn't down. Let's just be honest. That's kind of scratch. Let's pull up the Jackson homicides over on WLBT. It's been stuck at 83 for a while, and I know for a damn fact I continue to see. Oh, it's jumped up. They have updated it. I'm about to say, man, it was stuck at 83 for about a week. It is now up to 88, Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s number. So they're sitting at Dale Earnhardt Jr. levels of murder in Jackson with a good 3.5 months left to go. They will get to 120 again this year. Just like Thalia Hall will never reopen, in my opinion. I don't care what the mayor says. I don't care what he says. I don't care what Kingfish tells me I'm wrong. I don't think I am. I bet you they have misappropriated the money. They've done something with the money. Anyway, it's a different rabbit hole for another day. Different rabbit hole for another day. We all know crime is not down. Maybe it's down from 2021 where it just went, where they just said, defund the police and all that. But is it down from where it was 5-6 years ago? That's like saying inflation's down. No, inflation's not down. The economy is not doing good. 4 years ago, gas was $1 a gallon. Today, It's $3 a gallon. I'm sure I'm get a few pennies off here and there, but it got up to $4 a gallon. Just because it's back down to $3 a gallon does not mean inflation is down. That's like me saying that my base weight should be 200 pounds. And I gain 50 pounds. And then I lose 20 pounds. I'm still overweight. I can't call myself skinny. If that makes sense. Probably a bad analogy. I heard somebody else use it. I thought it sounded good. Let's see here. All right, we've got to take our last break, come back, land the plane for the day. We'll be right back on WYAB. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. I want to thank everybody for a good show today. We've kind of hit a bunch of different wide-ranging topics, from the school safety to talking to Miss Heather Smith and her new book, The Survivalist Guide to Single Parenting. But really an interesting book, not a bad one at all. I kind of read through the description of it last night. I think that can help anybody. She's got the teenage version coming out soon. That'll be a good one. Y'all follow her, Heather Smith Outdoors, across all social platforms, and check Heather out. She's always a good follow, very entertaining, very good-looking lady, and very entertaining. We got Chip Matthews and his motley crew of individuals coming up next. They'll be talking about all the national and local politics they find interesting. I'll be back here tomorrow, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. with Sean Yurkaran for a Hump Day show. Make sure you follow me across all social media at SaveJXN. I'm about to drop the brand new FAFO logo shirt today online. It'll be available for pre-order. We're going to drop some hoodies and everything with the other logo. You guys have been asking for them. You're finally going to get them now that it's cool again. Or it ain't cool again, but it's getting cool again. So stay tuned. Make sure you're following the podcast. Search Clay Edwards Show. Follow me on social at SaveJXN. Make sure you're following me on YouTube, all that good stuff. We update things lots and lots and lots throughout the day. TikTok, Instagram, at SaveJXN as well. And don't forget, circle the date. This Friday from 10:30 to noon or so, we'll be at Martin's Livingston for our big radio show, FAFO Friday lunch. We've been trying to do one once a month. It's going to be a great one out there. Everybody finally tried the country fried steak that I've been telling y'all about. I'll see y'all back here tomorrow. Stay blessed. Peace out.